We're hearing that it is a Mercedes. Don't know what kind of Mercedes, but we do know it's moving very quickly here on the 10 freeway. There it is in the shot with Sky9 moving towards it, and of course it's coming towards us at about 95 miles an hour. So you got an idea that this thing is moving very quickly this evening. Now California Highway Patrol, they're the ones behind it. They're the ones with the helicopter above it. Now they wanted this vehicle to stop. They are warning the other vehicles here on the roadway using the carpool lane right now, and it gives you a real feel how fast this thing is going as we're starting to pass it, or it's starting to pass us. Just passing Garfield at 100 plus. That's what I just heard from the California Highway Patrol. So this car really moving quickly. A number of occupants inside that number, meaning one greater than the driver. So they're unsure if it's just the passenger or passengers and some people in the back. But that's our first real look at the car this evening. High speeds for sure. Mercedes, California Highway Patrol in pursuit, 100 miles. We're at East LA. Oh, we are definitely with you, I can tell you that. And we've been watching this car. California Highway Patrol still behind it. They're switching to the East LA frequency now. That's going to be the California Highway Patrol. We're getting very, very close to Soto is probably going to be one of the big off-ramps coming up here in just a moment. Now, they still want this vehicle to stop. There's still a number of officers behind it, and you can see the vehicle still going about 90 miles an hour. Jeff, you are 100% correct. This is a newer model Mercedes. I'm not sure what the model is. It could be an E, it could be a C, but it's definitely moving very quickly. I'm amazed at the California Highway Patrol staying so close behind it. You can see that that SUV that was right up on its bumper earlier on, now replaced with one of those new one of those new Dodge Chargers. That's I understand the Highway Patrol is getting the V8 models, so these very powerful cars. Earlier on, though, they were right behind it. This one's giving it a little bit more space. Now, we've been watching a lot of these law enforcement agencies. They've been changing up their tactics on how they handle these pursuits. California Highway Patrol, they're the only ones that are really staying solid with the, you know what, you're not stopping, we're going to chase you. And this is what's going on this evening. Lights and sirens trying to notify. There we go. We're going to be doing a freeway change right there. Looks like we're going to be doing this is going to be on the 5, northbound 5, I believe, is what we're going to be transitioning onto. Now, on these transition roads, you got a lot of traffic right there. Car driving a little bit slower, so that's a good sign. But right now, this car's still evading at high speeds. California Highway Patrol right behind it. The light also being provided by California Highway Patrol this evening. High speeds for sure. I can tell you right now that our helicopter tracking, we're going 98 miles an hour. We are coming up on the 110, 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was just listening in on the CHP. They're saying this is a 2017 Mercedes sedan. There's right now the last call from the officer right behind it saying over 100 miles an hour, northbound 5. We're already starting to get into the Atwater Village area. We're going to be coming up on the Los Feliz exit. So this car moving out very quickly. Is always kind of wondering why they're going in the direction they're going. Possibly it's just because it's convenient. Right now, though, California Highway Patrol not letting up. There's no talk about them letting this up. And, of course, any kind of tactics to bring this to an end, besides staying behind it, is they just don't have those opportunities right now, especially these high speeds, that type of vehicle. There's no way they're going to do a pit maneuver. But I just heard it say 107 miles an hour northbound on the 5, the number 1 lane. So this car's still moving out. We're going to be coming up here on Los Feliz here in just a moment. You can see traffic very light. That's a huge plus for everybody involved. But still, at these high speeds, if something goes wrong, this could end very, very badly. And you can see right there, just those little bumps, the vehicle going at 100 miles an hour, it's going to affect that car just a little bit differently. And I would assume that the driver, not trained for these type of high speeds, so you always got to worry about what's going to happen with that suspect. Something unexpected, like driving here in the emergency lane, making these maneuvers. There's a lot of debris in those lanes. You don't want to pick up something, get a flat tire. Now he's starting to move a little bit more into the middle. The 2 could be coming up here in just a moment, but he's really starting to get close to these other vehicles. It's getting a little unnerving, and you can see that car, just the way it's moving. Extremely high speeds this evening. California Highway Patrol behind it, helicopter above. They're still following. It's still a pursuit. They just want this guy to pull over. Already coming up on the 134. Jeez. Staying on the 5. No, I think we're staying on the 5. Well, that's right. We're just trying to figure out if we're staying on the 5. I believe we are staying on the 5 freeway northbound, so we're going to be getting into the Glendale area right now, then to Burbank. This vehicle, like you said, we did the registration. We found out that this vehicle is a rental. You know, they make those jokes, drive it like you stole it. This guy, you know, this is the reason why you don't buy rental cars, used ones at least. This car really continuing to move. When you see him getting up against that emergency lane, against that center divider, that's not a lane. That's going to be the emergency lane out here on the 5 freeway. So this person using that emergency lane, trying to keep up these speeds, speeds. Whenever cars get in his way, he's basically, or she is basically, just using any lane to get by. Extremely high speeds right now. Northbound, number 1 lane, that's going to be the farthest over to the center divider. California Highway Patrol staying right behind it, definitely established into the Burbank area right now. Olive's going to be one of the off-ramps that we're coming up on. But this car continues to move, continues to elude officers, and continues to put public at risk. Now, what the original want is just reckless driving and speed. So if he would have just pulled over, probably just some sort of ticket, maybe something else. But right now, you've got all this other stuff just adding up on there, eluding the officers. This is all going to be a problem when this comes to an end, hopefully it's going to come to an end some sort of peacefully, where the vehicle is either just going to pull over and stop, run out of fuel. We don't want to see this thing colliding with anything, not another vehicle, not anything stationary either. We're just passing Olive right now. Their speeds have actually slowed. It's odd to say, have slowed to 90 miles an hour. California Highway Patrol still behind it, helicopter still above it. Calls are being made. They're talking about handing it off to another CHP division. Already passing Magnolia, so gives you an idea how fast we're clicking these streets off. And we're going to be in the Burbank area still, but we're heading out of the Burbank area. I'm listening in. They're talking about maybe dropping back, but we got to wait and see if that actually happens. Oh, definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. Oh no, we're just letting you know we're just passing the media center out here, northbound 5. These speeds continue to keep moving, and you can see how the public's reacting. Sometimes when this car is passing at those high speeds, you'll see the cars kind of move out of the way quickly. It's kind of shocking. It's unnerving. You see something blur by you. You're on the freeway doing your 70 or whatever, and then you've got a car passing you at 30, maybe 40 miles an hour faster, and then you see the flashing lights from the officers behind that. It could be unnerving for the public. That could cause an accident as well. Right now, though, they just want this vehicle to pull over. The California Highway Patrol, number of vehicles behind it, helicopter above. There has been talking about that maybe they're going to back off, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening right now. And of course, the California Highway Patrol right behind it, they have a carpool lane once again. The speed's still about 90 miles an hour. They are talking about possibly doing something. I don't want to give anything away, but they're talking about possibly doing something to see if they can bring this vehicle to a stop somewhere in the close future here. Definitely. Sun Valley. Opening it up. We're just approaching it right now. That was the 170. We just entered the Arleta area. That was the 170. That was the overpass for the 170. Car's starting to speed up again. We've been watching this vehicle. Every time he starts getting over to the right, I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's going to get off the freeway. Maybe this is going to change up a little bit, and then it doesn't happen. He basically he likes to stay on the 5. We've been staying on the 5 right now. This vehicle's still moving at extremely high speeds. When he was approaching the 170, you could see it moving a little bit faster there. We just passed Brantford just a few moments ago. Then, of course, we're going to come up on the Osborne exit. But he's not thinking about or even getting close to the number 1 lane or getting to doing anything that looks like he's going to get off the freeway. 118 freeway is coming up ahead here in a little bit. But it doesn't look, if he stays over here, it doesn't look like he's going to be changing. Staying on that northbound 5, extremely high speeds. Now, we've seen in the past where these cars will start heading out towards past the Valencia area. There we go. We've seen maybe he's going out there. Maybe something's going to change, but traffic appears to be slowing down. There seems to be a little bit of traffic ahead. The California Highway Patrol worried about that, worried about the public safety. This vehicle still at about 100, and now we are approaching the 118 freeway. There goes the 118. Yes, I can. You want to switch? Woo! No. Yes. Wow. Approaching the 405. Yes, I have. I'm on 5. I have both open. I have both of them open. Well, I am. Roxford. No. Coming up. Looks like the cars ran out of gas or something. Maybe. I can't. Yeah. Lizzie, I got you. I got you. We are getting out of the Sylmar area. We're going to be up on the 210 here in just a minute. I don't know why he shut his lights off. That was kind of weird. Yeah, we're going to be in the Newall Pass. Definitely. We're going to be there right now. We're still in northbound 5. Northbound 5 going through the Newhall Pass. San Fernando Road. 100 plus. Everybody to the blue. Come on, where's the blue? That's blue south. All right, copy. Copy. Well, we're watching this Mercedes. We picked it up in the San Gabriel area. This was on the 10, right by the 605, when we first saw this car and the California Highway Patrol chasing it. Now, it is a newer model, black Mercedes, 2017 is what they're saying, and they're also saying it is a rental out of Florida. That's what we found out. Now, this car was wanted for reckless driving and high speeds, and that's what we've been watching pretty much this entire time. The lights, they turned them off in the Sylmar area. Northbound 5 freeway, we just went through the Newhall Pass, over 100 miles an hour uphill. Now we're going to do a little bit downhill. Past the 14 freeway, we're getting into Valencia. Now, there has been some talk about more than one person inside that vehicle. Obviously, there's a driver, but there may be at least 2 other passengers inside this car. You can see those lights flashing now. I don't know if he's tapping those brights, trying to get people to move out of his way. If that is, that's some sort of new stunt that we've seen. The lights are off on the car, and you know what? He's never tapping those brakes. He's been using that gas pedal quite a bit. There's the brake lights. Now, this car has been going 100, 107 miles an hour. The slowest we've seen it is 90, and that was during a transition road. Now we just passing Calgrove, northbound 5, high speeds, other cars on the freeway. California Highway Patrol in pursuit, 1 helicopter above, that's also from the California Highway Patrol, and this pursuit continues. Northbound 5, the traffic getting just a little bit lighter this evening as we're making our way out of the city into the Valencia and Newhall area. Oh, we're definitely here with you. And you know, the thing is right now that something we got to bring up to all the viewers and everybody is if this continues and gets into the Grapevine, that's that area that the pilots at night will not fly. We're not going to be able to get past that Grapevine area, and we'll kind of wonder about the California Highway Patrol helicopter because they fall under the same rules as our helicopter does. But that doesn't mean that the ground units aren't going to stay behind it. I don't know where this person or what this plan is. We never know what these guys are thinking. But this is the first time we've seen him get all the way over to the right, but he has not gotten off the freeway. Always staying on the freeway right there. California Highway Patrol, they've got a couple of units behind it, and they are concerned right now that the vehicle has what they're saying is blacked out. All the lights are off. Occasionally we see those headlights flashing. Don't know what that really is going to do for any of this pursuit or this guy trying to get away. You know, the freeways are well lit. They got the helicopter light above it. But right now, you can see some light inside that car. We get a kind of a look. We can actually see what they were talking about earlier on. There may be somebody in the back seat. It definitely looks like there's somebody in the front passenger. So a couple of people inside this car. It makes you wonder, though, what kind of conversation is going on inside there where the passengers are saying, yeah, man, let's keep going. You'd think that they'd be saying, you know, I'm done with this high-speed driving. Let's just pull over. But apparently, they're all in right now. This chase is continuing. I'm seeing lights and sirens up ahead that seem to be trying to get onto the freeway. Maybe they'll use some kind of tactic to try to slow this down. But with the amount of traffic on the freeway, the speeds that they're going, I find that hard to believe. Oh, most definitely, but that might be what their plan is this evening, or they're at least going to attempt it. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it successfully because of all the factors that you said: speed, the traffic, other traffic on the freeway, and of course, it's just too dangerous for the officers. Right now, though, you can see how quickly he's passing those trucks in the slower lanes right there. Speeds still about 90 miles an hour. I'm looking out the window. I haven't heard a call in a few minutes, but I can tell you we are past the McBean. We're probably at past the Magic Mountain. So we're coming up on the 126 right now. You can see the reds and blues, California Highway Patrol. They are not giving this up and sticking with it. They definitely want this car to stop. One of the reasons may be because it is a rental. They have a registration, but they don't have a person to go back to. Number of people inside the car. There might be some other factors that are not being, that they know that they're not sharing with the media right now. But the speeds super high. We're working our way out of the Valencia area right now. We're starting to get into Castaic. We've probably got another good 5, maybe 6 minutes as we start working our way into the Grapevine. Helicopters might drop off, but the ground units, they're going to stay right behind it. Well, no, that's we heard about that a little earlier on, and we're not sure if the car is out of Florida and maybe they rented it out here. All that's kind of still a big question mark, but the registration apparently out of the Florida area. This vehicle still moving extremely high speeds. I can tell you Sky 9 this evening, or excuse me, Sky 2 this evening, we're tracking them at about 80 miles an hour, but I think that's because of the turn. I can almost guess that he's still going about 90 just by the looks of when he's passing all these other vehicles. There's some of those trucks that you were talking about, Rick. We did pass a lot of that construction earlier on, but it gives you an idea when he's passing that car right there, and of course that truck probably doing about 65, so he's still moving very, very fast this evening. California Highway Patrol right behind it. The helicopter staying above. I'm going to start talking with Marcos, my pilot, to figure out where we're going to say that we can't follow it anymore. But I really wanted to see this thing come to an end safely. But it pains me to watch them drive off into the Grapevine, and then we find out later on they ran out of gas or whatever. I think that one right there was probably going to be I'm sorry, that was going to be Castaic. Yes, that's going to be definitely. And Newhall Ranch is, well, I believe, that's the 126. So we just passed the 126 right there. That's what we saw. But the vehicle's still moving very quickly. We're going to get into the Castaic area right now. But lights are off. Traffic's light. That's good for that guy driving. And, of course, the California Highway Patrol. But, you just don't know these dark roads. This car is blacked out, high speeds. The lights and sirens are there to alert the public. But in this case, it may shock somebody. I'm always worried that somebody's going to turn the wrong way, make contact with that car moving at high speeds, and then gosh only knows what's going to happen. No, no, they passed that area a while back. I don't know if they didn't make it there in time. They were going to try to use a spike strip, try to get some kind of device out in front of that vehicle, but it did not work. Still northbound. I just was hearing the California Highway Patrol. They were also kind of wondering. I think we're approaching Lake Hughes Road right now. That's going to be the next off ramp, and then we're going to start working our way into the Grapevine, that uphill pass, uphill drive. But California Highway Patrol, I'm wondering if the helicopter is going to stay with it. But yeah. Well, that's, you know, and it's going to get darker as they make their way up into the actual Grapevine itself. There is no lights up there, you know, lighting for the actual freeway itself. There is obviously a lot of vehicles up there. I was just listening in just listening in on one of the other radios right there, and the helicopter also just, you know, telling the ground units the same kind of feeling. You could hear it in his voice. We're going to be unable to follow. So they're gonna start thinking about having to turn around. We're gonna kind of come to a stop. We're gonna watch it best we can as it makes its way up into the Grapevine here. But definitely we're gonna have to stop as soon as it's that danger factor starts coming in. Safety is always number one concern. That car still blacked out, newer Mercedes. They said it's a 2017. Flashing his lights every now and then, maybe to get an idea, because it is so dark. Maybe he's using those lights as well just to get an idea what's ahead of him, or maybe to warn vehicles. But at any rate, this is pretty much where we are slowing down. We're going to keep an eye on it. You can see California Highway Patrol switching out units right there as they're changing jurisdictions. That one vehicle, the sedan that was behind it, that Dodge, was keeping up for a long time. Now it's going to be one of those SUVs. And they are continuing to go up into the hill there. And California Highway Patrol, lights and sirens, they're going to chase it. But how it ends, we're probably going to have to find out from the California Highway Patrol later on tonight. Oh yeah, we're still. Well, you can see how dark it is out there, and there are no lights, and there is no reference. There's no horizon out there. That's the word that they use, the pilots will use. And when it gets to that point, you have no visual reference, and then it becomes very hairy for the pilots. So it's the darkness, basically. It's not just that it's nighttime, but there's low clouds out there. There's mountains. There's hillsides. it becomes very dark, and then they lose their visual reference. So that's the reason why we can't follow along, or we can't go into that area. At daytime, we could have followed along as best we could for as long as it goes. Right now, though, we're just spectators at the bottom of the hill, just watching this guy continue to climb. I got to wonder if he's getting up into the Lake Pyramid area. I mean, that's how far it's gone. But that 2017 Mercedes is just, that hill is nothing to it. It's just going. But, those cruisers right there behind it, we haven't seen anybody slowing down. We haven't seen any kind of problems with the law enforcement. So they're going to keep chasing it. It does appear that the lights have come back on that car. That's a plus for sure. But it just keeps going off into the darkness. Eventually, yep. There it goes. And perfect timing. That was it. Sign, Mint Desk, what would you like us to do? I think we should get back into the civilization. Thank you, Marcos.